positive moment in the center span and negative moments at the supports. So basically, positive movement would cause sagging, and sagging would cause tensile stresses in the bottom portion, in the lower portion of the concrete member. And wherever there are tensile stresses, we have to provide reinforcement in the concrete member. Then the negative moments would cause hogging action. Now, hogging would cause tensile stresses in the top layer of the concrete member, and as you would have uh, tensile stresses in the top layer near to the supports, we would provide reinforcement in the top layer. So from positive moment, we calculate positive steel, and positive steel is provided in the lower layer. From negative moment, we calculate the negative steel, negative reinforcement, and that is provided in the top layer. So again, positive moment causes sagging, and from the positive moment, we calculate the positive steel, positive reinforcement, and that is provided in the lower layer. From negative moment, we calculate the negative reinforcement, and negative moment causes hogging action, and this negative steel is provided in the top layer. For practical purposes, we combine both of the cases of simply supported case and continuous case to come up with a practical solution. And it would mean that basically we would provide positive steel in the central region and negative steel in the support region. So that was one thing. Now, uh, about the drawing, if we want to make the drawing of the concrete member, the drawings would be plan and sections. Sections would be of two types, longitudinal section and cross section. Now, when we are drawing sections, we can easily show the location of the steel bars either in the lower layer or in the top layer. So, no need to differentiate between the type of lines. Only steel bars would be drawn with the help of line or dots. Line for those reinforcement bars which are along the view. Okay, the for example, in the longitudinal section, if the steel bars are running along the section, they would be shown with a solid line, right? Those steel bars which are coming out of the section, out of plane, would be shown with the help of dots. Now, when we draw the plan, in plan, we have to show the top reinforcement as well as bottom reinforcement. In that case, we have to differentiate between the type of lines. So the positive bars which come in the lower layer are shown with solid line, and the negative bars which come at the top layer, we show it with the help of dashed line. Now I would share the task which you have to basically perform, your next assignment. Now can you see the screen? Okay. Now, basically, you do not have to show the reinforcement on the framing plans because it would be quite difficult at this stage. You only have to make this drawing sheet as an assignment for the reinforcement drawing. In this assignment, look, there are three parts of the assignment. First column is the drawing of the slab. Second column is the drawing of the beams. And the third column is the drawing of the column. And we are talking about reinforcement drawings. When we talk about slabs, for slabs, we basically make two drawings. Majorly, the slab drawing is the plan view, that is the major drawing, and mostly used. We draw plans for slabs, and secondly, as a detail, we can mark a section and we can draw a section along any dimension, longer dimension or shorter dimension. Now, if you have seen the recording, I've also discussed the types of slab. Types of slabs are one way and two way. Now, one way and two way means that in one way slab, we consider that the load is transferred in one direction only, and which is basically or normally which is the shorter direction LX. L- Shorter direction or shorter span is LX. Longer direction is LY. This is given in the notes, right? Two-way slab, we consider that the load is transferred in both of the directions, Lx and Ly. Now, if I give you an example of a cantilever sunshade, which is over windows, now that is a slab, but in that slab, the sport is only on one side. So if sport is only on one side, then obviously it is going to be a one-way slab. It is not going to be a two-way slab. We are not going to consider the dimensions then. Now, provided that sports are all on or are all on all four sides, then we would decide depending upon the dimensions that the slab is either one way or two way. Sports on all four sides would mean that either there are walls on all four sides or there are beams on all four sides, right? Now, if sports are available on all four sides, then depending upon the dimensions of the slab, we would characterize them as one way or two way. The dimension of the slab, if it is equal to or greater than 2, it would be one way. If longer or a shorter dimension is less than 2, it would be a two-way slab, right? So you have to decide the dimensions of a one-way slab. Sports is 9 inches wall on all four sides, and you have to draw a section along shorter direction using curtailment technique. Now, in the lecture, I have also discussed what is curtailment technique and bent up technique. Curtailment and bent up technique are the methods of providing steel. These are the techniques in which steel is provided in the concrete member. Okay, there was some problem with the internet. Now it is fine. So we were discussing now. Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen? Okay. Uh, so we were discussing curtailment and bent up. Curtailment and bent up is used for saving the steel in the reinforcement, saving the steel in the concrete. Uh, Curtailment means to cut the steel bar where they're not required, and bent up means that the bottom layer steel is given a bent and brought to the top layer just in order to save the steel, right? Now, these curtailment distances for the bottom and for the top reinforcement, they are not fixed. Actually, they vary from case to case. They vary depending upon the end conditions of the slab. Okay, but over we have taken a general curtailment distance 0.15 L and 0.3 L, right? Now, section along shorter direction and section along longer direction. Uh, in the section along shorter and longer direction, you only have to keep this thing in mind that if this is the section, one of the bottom layers reinforcement bar would come like this, the other one would be having dots, right? Now these dots would be either above the line or below the line. Okay, so so basically you have to think that according to the sectional view, your dots would come above the line or below the line. Okay, this only you have to think. And the concept behind this is that when you would place the reinforcement, first of all, shorter direction reinforcement would come and then longer direction reinforcement would come. This would be the difference between sectional along shorter direction and sectional along longer direction. Next is lintels, or we should discuss the reinforcement in slabs. Shorter positive reinforcement is number 4 at the rate 6 inches center to center. Number 4 is the diameter of the bar, 4 over 8 inches. 6 inches is the center to center distance. Similarly, short negative steel along the shorter direction, number 3 at 6 inches. Number 3 is the diameter, 3 over 8 inches. Similarly, longer positive steel and longer negative steel. Now the second part of the assignment. Now the second part of the assignment is the uh, beams and lintels. Now lintel is a beam basically, and it is provided over windows and doors. It is provided at a lower level as compared to slab. So any beam which is not casted with the slab and placed at a lintel height would be termed as a lintel. Now, the main difference between slabs and beams is that first of all, in slabs, the width of the member is enormous, but in case of beams, the width is limited. Okay, so you would have a width of, let's say, 9 inches or 12 inches, right? And this would be slab. But if you talk about slabs, slabs has have enormous widths, right? Now beam has more depth. Slabs have lesser depths. right? Now, slabs have reinforcement like this, that they have more reinforcement in the center, in the positive layer, and lesser reinforcement in the support region. Okay. If I say that this is the support region, so in the support region, there are lesser number of positive bars. In the mid-span region, this is the mid-span, you have more number of positive bars. For example, if there are 100 bars over here, there would be 50 bars over here. Half of them would be curtailed, right? And in the support region, there would be negative bars in the top layer in case of slabs, right? No need of negative bars in the central region because there isn't any chance of negative movement in the center span. If I draw the longitudinal section, if I draw the longitudinal section of a beam, then you would see that the negative bars as well as positive bars, they would run throughout. Okay. I am going to show these bars over here in the cross section. So these four bars, which are at the corners of the beam in the cross section, would run throughout from one spot to the other spot. And the reason for that is that we have to provide a vertical reinforcement. Class, can you hear me? There, there is an issue. My computer is hang. I do not know that you can hear me or not. with my computer. Welcome back. Can you see the screen? Okay, great. So we were discussing the reinforcement difference between slabs and beams. So one thing we have discussed that in case of slabs, you have positive reinforcement throughout the span, uh, provide and with having more reinforcement in the central region, and uh, 50% is reduced in the sport region. Uh, Negative reinforcement is provided only in the sport region in case of slab. Now, in case of beams, we have to run at least 4 bars, which are at the corners of the beam throughout the length. The reason is that we have to provide shear reinforcement as well. Now, shear reinforcement is vertical. Now, how vertical reinforcement is provided in beams in the form of rings. We call these rings as shear rings or shear stirrups, right? So these rings are required to be hanged onto something. Okay. So in order to hang these shear rings, we need 2 bars at the top and 2 bars at the bottom throughout the length of the beam. Okay. So that's why we say that at least 4 bars would be running along the length of the beam. They would be serving the purpose of carrying the moment. Okay. If it is in the bottom layer, it would carry the positive moment. If it is in the top layer, it would carry the negative moment, right? So, and it would also hold the shearings vertical. They would keep these shearings vertical, and when the shear reinforcement would be provided, the shear reinforcement would take care of the shear stresses in the beams. Okay. One more thing, shear is a problem in beams, but it is not a problem in slabs. Uh, and this is majorly due to the dimensions of the object. Okay, beam is a line element. In a line element, you would have the problem of shearing. In a plate element, there wouldn't be any problem of shearing. The only problem of shearing in plate element is punching shear, and that only comes when there is a point load acting on the slab. Otherwise, there is no problem of shearing in slabs. So lintel, uh, length of the lintel is given, depth of the lintel is also given. You have to draw a longitudinal and transverse section of lintel. Similarly, beam longitudinal and transverse section you have to uh, show. In lintels, no curtailment would be used because it is a small lintel. 2 bars, the reinforcement detail is written over here. Two number 4 bars running in the bottom and two number 3 bars in the top layer. See this term hanger bar. Hanger bar means that these are used to hang the shear reinforcement. Okay. So top bars are sometimes also called as hanger bars. You have to also draw the beam longitudinal and transverse section by using curtailment technique, and curtailment length would be equal to zero point 0.1 L. The details of the reinforcement of the beam is also given, right? Lastly is the column longitudinal section and transverse section. Foundation depth is also given and foundation width is also given. Column stem size is 12 inches by 12 inches. And I have discussed this column in the AutoCAD drawing. And the drawing which is to be made over here is similar to that drawing, which I have provided you uh, in the AutoCAD file, right? So this you have to do by next Saturday. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. You can ask questions if you have any, or you can raise your hand. Do you have any question? You can either raise your hand or you can write down the question in the chat. Survey has spaces and shear rings, but shear force is throughout. Yes. Yes, dear. 103 roll number. Now, if you recall, shear force is maximum near to the support, and as you go towards the midspan, the magnitude of shear force would reduce, right? So first of all, shear force is maximum near to the support and minimum near to the center. Now you are saying that we have spaces in the shear rings. Yes, we have spaces in the shear ring. Actually, the reinforcement spacing is dependent upon this diameter of the. Again, the concept of calculating shear reinforcement is same as you calculate positive reinforcement from positive moment. You calculate shear reinforcement from shear force, right? Now there are spaces, but we would consider a unit length. Okay, the force in a unit length and the reinforcement provided in a unit length. So spaces does not matter. Okay, overall area of steel in a unit length would matter. The area of steel provided to resist shear in a unit length would matter. That is how we provide reinforcement. Okay. It is similar to providing reinforcement to for moment. You see, whatever positive or negative we provide, there are spacing between positive and negative moments. Okay. We cannot provide a steel slab. Roll number 100 has written his roll number in the comments. Is it a question or you're trying to mark your attendance? No, sir. It means that writing your registration. You are trying to mark your attendance. Okay, your attendance is marked. Any question? Question. If we have to provide 9 inches beam under or above 4.5 inches wall, can we place it in the center or any side? Like we can extend 103. The yes, and listen 103. First of all, if you have a 4.5 inches wide wall on the ground floor, you would not provide load over it. So what would you do? You would leave a gap between wall and the beam, which you provide over 4.5 inches wall. First of all, the beam would be casted. Then you would construct the wall up to the bottom, up to the soffit of the beam, right? This is very important. Uh, Many contractors do this, that they would construct the 4.5 inches wide wall, and they would place the beam over 4.5 inches wide wall. So what would happen, that automatically the load from the slab would go into the beam, and from the beam it would go into the wall. So this is one important thing, that when you are constructing partition walls should be constructed afterwards, before the construction of the structure. Now you are asking that if you are providing a 9 inches wide beam over 4.5 inches wide wall, where should it be extended? On both of the sides, on any one side? It can be extended on any side. It is, again, it is not even required to be constructed over the wall. You can even construct it on the side of the wall, depending upon the situation. Okay, what would happen, that the slab load would automatically go on the into the beam. So walls can be constructed anywhere. It would be dependent upon the overall situation, that you want to some of the area would be, you have to do the false ceiling. In some area you do not have to do the false ceiling. So where you do not have to do the false ceiling, over there you would not take out, or you would not extend the beam. Roll number 72 is wants to ask some question. 72, 72. Okay, you have written your question. 103. Sorry, 103. Further question is that, if we are supporting the wall of first floor by providing beam in the ground floor slab. Again, this I've already discussed in the framing lecture. If we have a wall of 4.5 inches wide on the first floor, its load can be taken on the slab, or you can provide a beam for that in the ground floor slab. If you're providing a beam on the ground floor in the ground floor slab for a 4.5 inches wide wall on the first floor, then it means that the slab is not taking the load of the wall. That is one thing. So beam should be provided under the wall. Preferably, wall should be placed in the center of the beam, but it can be even placed on any either side of the beam. No problem, because it is a partition wall would not have much load. Roll number 72 is asking, 72 is having some problem. So 72, you message me separately, roll number 72, I would see. 67 is asking, we have to take depth of beam from top of the slab or bottom? Top of the slab. The depth of beam is taken from the top of the slab. Drop of beam is taken, or the hang of beam is taken from the bottom of the slab. Okay, there are two terms. Depth, depth means the total, depth means the total height of the beam. Okay, so it is taken from the top of the slab. The other term is hang or drop. That is the portion which is extending below the slab. So that is taken from the bottom of the slab. 103 roll number is asking that if two beams are intersecting, then their reinforcement will also intersect. We just do the concreting at once. Now, Uzair, if two beams are intersecting, so surely load of one of the beam would be going on to the other beam. Okay, it means that the reinforcement of one, if we talk about the bottom reinforcement, the bottom reinforcement of one of the beam would be lower than the other beam. So uh, the beam with the reinforcement at the lower level would be taking load of the beam which is having the reinforcement over it. Okay. Yes, concreting would be done in single go. Any other question? 03 is asking, can you change the direction of beam without providing column under the turn? Uh, yes, you can. 103, but it would be the total mechanism would be different. Uh, for example, for example, the corner beams. You must have seen corner windows in buildings. So you do not have a corner, you do not have a column in the corner of the building, but you have an opening in the corner. So what is happening? Basically, there are two beams, but remember that one of the beam, one out of those beam, or maybe both of the beams are acting as cantilever beams. Okay. So that can be done. You can change the direction of the beam without providing a column under the turn. Okay. A very good example of this is the corner beam of you must have seen corner windows in buildings or houses, and at the corner there is no column, so you can turn the direction, there is no problem. But the in the background what is happening, that one of these two beams is cantilevered, it is extended from a support, and the other beam can be simply supported, or if you have sports, it is better that both of the beams should be cantilevered. Question. The class is over and the submission would be on next Saturday, coming Saturday. We would have a class during the week, and in that class, I would give you the next assignment. No more questions, class? We do not have any questions. Thank you very much. The class is over. Allah Hafiz.